I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, what is happening?
Sam Healey, what's up?
And today we're talking about things that are ridiculous. Or...
That hat is ridiculous.
the softball, I lost it. Anyhow, we're talking about ridiculous components in board games. Some games have horrible components.
Right.
And we may do the list on that someday, the games with the worst components, but we still like them. That'd be an interesting list, actually.
Yeah.
But we're talking about games with ridiculous. Now, ridiculous could be ridiculously good, or it could be ridiculously dumb.
Yeah, and for me, largely what I did is if I open that game up and I look at whatever this component is and I go, this is, wow, really? Whether it's good or bad, it's something that I considered for the list. And I'm doing a very show and tell.
I'm so excited, teacher!
Look at this!
How'd you make your list?
Same.
All right.
Show and tell stuff, though.
No, I don't have any show and tell stuff.
Well, actually, on my list, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of my 10 I don't own. So I can't even do that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I own everything but one.
All right. Well,
My top 3 I don't own. There's a 4th and a 5th. So half
So
of my
you're
list
somewhere
I
in the
don't own.
middle. Okay.
all right.
Cool.
All right. Well, here we go. Ridiculous components, number 10.
Number 10.
All right, my number 10 is a game that I have owned for a very long time, and I never, from the very beginning, understood the necessity of this component, and that is Nexus Ops, the Monolith.
Yeah. I forgot about that
Come
one.
on. I mean, there's just this little platform, and it's a cardboard chintzy platform that
Yes,
just kind of
yes.
sits in the middle of the board.
I think the Fantasy Flight one might have been better quality.
Yeah. So anyway, you're supposed to put your people up there, and
It always falls apart.
it always falls apart, and it's like, what in the world is this doing?
You can't see what's right behind it.
Exactly. It just blocks line of sight, and I just never understood it, and I haven't really got to the point where I play without it. I still use it, but the whole time I'm using it, I'm like,
This is annoying. Yeah.
this is dumb. This is dumb. This is one of those ridiculous bad components.
This is funny because I was just thinking about this the other day, and I wanted to get it 3D printed, like a small one,
Yeah,
just slightly higher than the rest of
Right.
them, so I can still see.
that would be cool.
Yeah, I'm looking into
Somebody 3D print one of those for us. Come on. You can do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, they don't have to give it to us. They just design it to us, and we'll get it 3D printed.
Okay,
it. Cool.
Maybe, it might already be designed for all we know.
that could be.
All right, my number 10 is from a party game that has been long since forgotten. I barely remember how to play the game, but what do you know? I think R&R Games did this one. It's based on a show from PBS, I think, the Public Broadcasting System,
Okay.
some radio quiz show, and it came with this big bobblehead figure of one of the hosts that just came in the box for no reason.
Didn't
And it was
do
almost like
anything?
that. Did nothing. Just a bobblehead of some guy who I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you like the show,
Right.
the bobblehead made sense. But I remember getting it like, well, I'm glad we paid for that much of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
I don't want to buy a bobblehead.
Maybe the original show host just agreed with everybody.
That's a good answer.
Good answer.
All right, this is probably the most ridiculous thing on my list, but since the game is so obscure and such, that's why it's number 10. So that's what do you know?
That's good to know because I'm thinking if this is number 10, number 1 is going to be this spaceship came in my box.
Yeah, what do you
This
know?
wormhole into another dimension. All right, my number 10 is for a game called Junta Viva el Presidente, and this is a pair of shades that come in the box. That they are the star player marker, basically.
Yes.
And it's a pair of really cheap sunglasses.
I'd say they're probably they're cheaper than ones you would get in a Happy Meal.
Yeah, they are bad. I mean, I remember putting them on and getting all scratched up because they have flash on them and stuff. And I'm like, and they don't fit anybody because they're really small.
And they break after the first game.
And you probably shouldn't put them on because you keep passing these things around, right? So that's a really ridiculous thing. I'm not sure what they were thinking there. They get points.
No, it's cool. I like
They get points for originality, but not a particularly useful star player marker. But yeah, that's my number 10. Junta el Presidente, Viva Presidente, the sunglasses.
Number 9.
All right, my number 9 is from the game Infamy from Mercury Games. You remember that game where you fought over different people? And it comes with a start player marker. It's a giant cardboard gun.
Yeah.
What, do you have it here?
No, I don't.
Oh, I thought he was about to pull it out.
You mean this? No, don't have it.
No, it doesn't even matter who goes first that much in the game. I mean, it's a little important, but this gun is huge. Remember that?
Yeah,
as soon as I mentioned the game, Sam remembered.
Yeah, we were like pointing it around. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's just a start player token.
Yeah,
but it's
that's all
pretty
it
cool. I like it. I mean, I like the start player token, but it's just kind of silly. So that's from Infamy.
Cool. All right, my number 9 is from a kids game, really, and there's a ton of kids games that have ridiculous components. This just happens to be one that I own that I really like, and that game is Igloo Pop, and it comes with these little igloos, and you can shake them, and there's
Wait, hang on. Shake it. 7.
6. Very close. It's very close. So as you can tell, there's a number of them in there, and you're trying to guess in the game how many there are. The reason I think it's particularly ridiculous is because of the theme of the game. We're supposed to be giants shaking igloos with children in them to figure out how many of the kids are in there.
So that you
And
can
so
get
when
them
I do
fixed.
this, I'm basically making the kids like hit the walls in the igloo, and if you really get into the theme too much, it's a horrific game that no child should play. But Igloo Pop has these really cool igloos, and it's just a neat kind of wow factor component. My number 9, Igloo Pop.
I considered that one because I have it. Although, I mean, for the purpose of the game, it makes sense. The worst part of this, though, is you have to put these together, and you put these little tiny beads in it, and you can't mess up, because if you mess up, it's forever.
You've broken the game. Yeah, once you seal it, you kind of pop them into place and seal them. You don't really want to take them apart anymore. Yeah, they're cool. Igloo Pop, my number 9.
Cool. All right, my number 9 is a game that I actually own and I really enjoy. This is one of the ridiculous good kind of components here, and that is Catan Geographies Germany, the Landmark miniatures.
I managed to get that game on a lot of Geekiest.
Hey,
Loves it.
It's a great game, and you should try it. But when I opened the game, it had that whoa, that's awesome, because first of all, I'd been to a lot of them. First of all, so that was a cool part of it. But on top of that, it just really makes the board pop when they're all on the board. They start on the board, and then you actually move them when you build them onto where they go in the geographically speaking. So it really makes the game pop every time we play it. The miniatures, the Landmark miniatures in Catan Geographies Germany, good, ridiculous.
Nice.
Number 8.
All right, my number 8 is for a game that both Tom and I really, really like, and that is
Show us, Mr. Z.
Cosmic Encounter. But this is 1991 Mayfair Cosmic Encounter. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those ships. Those ridiculous throwaway punched ships.
It's a garbage game.
That's not it. I'm talking about these. The alien powers, okay? These are the alien powers. And by the way, I grabbed the first 4 alphabetically. This artwork is almost the same on all 4 of these aliens. It's just a blob, and so it's awful. But the best thing is these are supposed to be standees, folks. This is supposed to be... Yeah. That never worked!
I want to know why you still own that version of the game.
Because I really like this version, and it has the throwaway flares. I mean, flares. It's like a different thing.
All right.
Anyway, alien standees from Cosmic Encounter, the 1991 Mayfair edition, I think is a ridiculous idea. I don't know who thought this would work.
Well, if you remember, when I bought this from someone on eBay, and the guy who I bought it from had these huge wooden blocks that these fit into.
Right.
They you slid them in, and the blocks were big and heavy, and they took up the whole box. Remember those blocks?
Yeah.
And they had to have them because these don't stand up without them.
Right. But that's either you put that in the box or you don't do this. I mean, when I play, I just lay it on the table, But they're supposed to be standees. Anyway, that's my number 9 Cosmic Encounter Aliens.
Ridiculous.
It
You
is.
mean your number 8?
That was my number 8. You're right.
Okay. Just keeping you frosty.
Keeping me honest.
All right, my number 8 is a game called Relic Runners. and the ridiculous good component were the actual relics themselves.
Yes.
The game had really good components to begin with. The board was aesthetically pleasing, but those minis, the relic minis, just made it pop.
Yep.
And very, very clear in my mind playing that game, so it almost shoot-in onto my list, Relic Runners, for the relic minis themselves.
Good one.
My number 8 is a game I bought when I was in college, and then it was reprinted by Hasbro like 5 years ago. The reprint was called Yakuza, and Yakuza was a fine game, except it was missing the coolest component from Samurai Swords, which was the swords. The swords which you determined play order, because they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diamonds. I hold them all, and you pulled one out. And then the game came with those nasty foam things, and they would actually hold the sword in front of you. Right? There was no other purpose for it. It was to place the swords that laid in front of you.
Yes.
And I don't know why they got rid of them for the reprint, because they were great, and we would take them and we would stab each other with them. We would fight swords.
That's probably why they did.
But it was just to determine who went
Too many
first.
lawsuits
That's
with
it.
kids being impaled on plastic swords.
Too many lawsuits.
But I love those swords. And so when I got the Yakuza reprint, I dismantled the Samurai Shodown and kept the swords and the stupid little things that held them.
Nice. So good ridiculous. Carry over ridiculous.
It was silly, though. I mean, only on that very first turn when you pulled them. After that, you bid for turn order. And even in a tie, then, it's kind of, they're really neat. But that's all they served a purpose was turn order.
Cool.
Number 7.
My number 7 is a start player marker in a game that came from Kickstarter. Sometimes Kickstarter games sort of lose their minds when they do this sort of thing, you know, and
No.
in this one, this is like a starter marker for Evolution.
Who's first?
This is the start player marker for Evolution, and this is already ridiculous enough, but if you had the fancy Kickstarter one, then you got this instead. And which kind of sort of stood up. Yeah, he does well on this table. So this was a start player marker, very detailed, you know, sort of gummy-ish plastic, but ridiculous. I mean, first of all, this thing barely fits in the box when you put everything in it, because he has the bent neck here, so it's hard to put him in the box.
I'm going to eat the children.
Just ridiculous start player marker. I get that we need something to know who's first, but this might be a little much. And so, my number 7 is the star player marker, either one of them really, for Evolution. It works.
I'm getting like some toys. All right, my number 7 is very similar to another one that's on my list, actually, 2 similar objects. This one is used for randomizing. Randomizing can be done with dice, but why use dice? We can use a creepy looking thing, an incognito. It's a masked figure where 3 balls come down. In fact, everyone I know calls it the 3-breasted nun, because the balls come out in the 3 different colors, and you could just roll numbers for this. But
this is a good one, actually. This is not one I thought of, but this is probably up there as one of the most ridiculous. I mean, if it was like top 10 creepy things in games, this is one easy, I think. It's a shoo-in. But it's definitely a weird contraption.
yeah, I mean, it works. It's like what you get to move on your turn, pieces. They probably could have done it with dice somehow. But hey, why not?
Why not make it a creepy, freaky nun?
You want to play this game now? I can see it.
Oh, I don't.
It's actually a really
Don't
good,
leave
it's
it
a really
out
good.
like on a shelf or something while you're sleeping.
Hey.
Don't do that.
All right.
All right, my number 7 is a game. Actually, there were probably multiple components in this game that could be used for this list, and I'm going to share 2 of them. But anyway, the game is Starfarers of Catan. Now, the ones that I'm sharing, that's actually the ones that made my list, were the alien figures that came as an expansion, so it wasn't actually part of the base game. If that doesn't, if that rubs you the wrong way that I'm using an expansion, you can actually use the ship parts, components of the original game too, because those were ridiculous. First of all, they were not very well put together, at least the part of it. at the very base of it, and when you stuck something into it, it would break. The snaps were too brittle. But on top of that, they were also used in dice rolling, kind of, maybe, sort of, because they had little plastic balls inside of them.
It's kind of like that freaky face where you did the thing.
Yeah, you had to shake it, and then each color that came out had a numerical equivalent to it. And so that was kind of freaky too. But the thing that really kind of, the ridiculous, over the top, these aren't really necessary, were the alien figures that just basically stood there on the board.
They were victory point markers in the original game.
I've never seen these.
Oh, okay.
They were just like a bust, or what is it?
No,
like
it's an actual
miniature,
full-length figure. And they basically just stood there. And when you traded with them, you get to set it in front of you.
Right, it was worth 2 victory points. So
and that's it.
Instead of a chip, it became this, and they weren't cheap too.
No, they were not.
And I bought them.
And I have them now.
That's hilarious.
So that Starfarer is a good time.
Number 6.
My number 6 is a game where all the components were ridiculous. The whole thing. It could have just been a tile laying game. But instead, Days of Wonder decided to make this game over the top. Cleopatra and the Society of Architects.
Yes.
The obelisks. Essentially, in this game, you are putting something down that gives you points. That's it.
Yeah.
But they made them all these big 3-dimensional plastic pieces, and it's like a toy box. And the game has kind of really died out. I don't know anyone who plays it anymore. Right. It was a decent game. I liked it
a lot, actually. I have my copy. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I have a copy
It's
too.
fun, but it was never. I don't think anyone ever considered it to be great.
Right.
But it was fun. But the pieces, you were like, what? It's a toy box. But the pieces actually didn't mean anything other than they just looked awesome.
Right. Yeah, but when you were done playing, you looked like you had accomplished something. You know,
exactly.
The place was the palace, and it looked like a palace. It was gorgeous.
Right, but the only problem with that is it was always the same look.
That's true.
There's other games like Medina where you're like building wooden blocks and you build a city, and it's different every time.
Yeah.
And this one, you were essentially just putting them out in the same order.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, Cleopatra and the Society of Architects.
Definitely on my short list, that one.
Cool. All right, my number 6 is a game called, it's by Richard Lonnie, it's called Run, Fight, or Die. And I am a miniatures game aficionado. I love miniatures, I love plastic miniatures, but in Run, Fight, or Die, there is one miniature that is really not necessary. It adds to the aesthetic feel because when it's standing in front of your zones, it's rather intimidating. Mm-hmm. But it spends half of its game life in the box because it doesn't come out until later on.
Oh, it might never come out.
Yeah. It might not ever come out. But when it does, that game's almost over because that guy's going to start tearing up. Talk about the Alpha Zombie, that big, huge guy that looks like a zombie version of Doc Ock or something like that.
Well, I didn't realize, but they made the things in the back. The cards go in them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Like you're supposed
to. It actually holds.
That little deck of cards that is his deck of cards.
Yes.
You can put that inside those tentacles. That's what they're for.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I do it. You stick the deck in behind him. It looks like a little backpack, and then you draw from behind him.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to try that.
That makes it even more ridiculous.
It does. It's even more ridiculous, but I'm probably gonna play it when I get home.
All right, my number 6 is not one I have here to show you, but it is components from Colt Express. And I'm not talking about the train here. I think the train is cool. I'm talking about the extra stuff they give you in the box.
Which does absolutely nothing.
They had nothing else to do with it, I guess. And so you get various cacti and like a rock. And this is just cardboard bits that you slide into each other, right, like this. And then stand on the table somewhere. They do nothing. It doesn't really matter where you put it. You put it on a shelf over there. And they're supposed to add to the scenery. No, dude, I'm not setting this stuff up. The train is hard enough to set up already. And then I'm supposed to, put random stuff around it. I never use them. I consider this to be bad ridiculous because it's pointless. Instead, I wish they would have included, which was a promo, a paper mat where you put the train on there. It's actually a track drawn on the paper mat. That's cool, but that didn't come in the box. Instead, you got all this ridiculous.
Or how about making the train a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger would have
So
helped.
we wouldn't be knocking everything over whenever we fiddle with it.
Maybe
Yeah,
you should
that
not be
would-
so big with smaller fingers.
That would help. But anyway, that's my number 6. The weird extra stuff in Colt Express.
Number 5.
All right, now my top 5. Yeah,
All right.
they're all pretty ridiculous.
Ooh.
One of
I hope
them.
so.
I actually haven't had a problem with
One-
anyone's thing that they put on their list so
one
far.
of them is a ridiculous good. The other 4 are ridiculous. They range from ridiculous meh to ridiculous that's stupid.
Get out of my face.
Okay, exactly. So my number 5 here is from a game called Chaos Ball. Now, Chaos Ball, if you've ever played it, has amazing miniatures. Cool Meter or Not has knocked it out of the park with all of their mini games. But you open a team box of your miniatures and you have your team. And then you've got this ridiculous oversized head that stands for
A bust.
it's a bust. Your coach.
No way. I've never
yes.
seen
Well, it's a scoring token too, but it's really ridiculously done.
They're literally like that big. And it's a bust of the coach. And I'm like, this is unnecessary. Way unnecessary. I mean, it's a great looking
right.
miniature, but
I don't think that's the most ridiculous thing, though.
that's the most ridiculous thing.
In that set, there's also those dice with all those weird symbols on them, and you're like, ooh, what happens when I roll this die? Nothing. It's just an initiative marker.
That's true.
It's a 12-sided die with cool symbols on the side,
Right.
but you don't ever roll it. You
They don't
use it
mean
as an
anything?
initiative. Right.
Yeah,
Just put it in front of you? Or in
Yes,
front
yes, that's true. It's like a 30-sided die or
No,
something
I don't
like
know.
that, right?
I think
forget
you're
what it
being,
is.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like a
you're being
30-sided
tested
die.
to join the actual league in another planet.
Right.
It's like Starfighter. You know?
Oh, yeah.
This is what it is.
But I don't know. The dice, yeah, okay, whatever. You don't ever use it. But the bust just didn't make sense to me. It was just way over the top.
Awesome.
Hey, we charge way too much for this game, so we're gonna add this in there.
I'm
Make it
sure
feel
somebody's
better.
got them all on like their shelf
Yeah,
or something.
probably.
Paint
something
it,
like
too.
that.
Come on now.
Yeah.
So that's Chaos Ball. The coach busts.
All right, my number 5 is Forbidden Desert. And Forbidden Desert especially is one thing that I just don't know why they put this in the box. And it is, of course, the ship.
It's awesome.
Forbidden Desert ship. It is awesome. It also does nothing in the game. You collect pieces, and once you have them all, you win the game once you get back to the takeoff pad or whatever. And then you have this thing that sits on the side somewhere, and when you're done, you like put the bits in it and go, whee! Okay, guys, help me put it away.
I always do the wee thing.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous. It's completely unnecessary. This is just... It's like it holds all the parts, so that's cute. Like somebody had a field day coming up with this, and then they actually decided to make it. That's the part that I think is weird. Again, doesn't really detract from the game, and I guess it's a piece of eye candy I can throw out there, and people go, ooh, and everybody always invariably starts putting the things on it, and I have to take...
Although be careful with the propeller.
I have to take the propeller away from him and go, stop it, do everything else. Not the propeller. But,
You can break the propeller if you put it on wrong.
yeah, really easily, too. So, really ridiculous. The ship from Forbidden Desert does absolutely nothing. Here you go, Dino.
All right, my number 5 is the only one on the list that I actually have. And most board games, when they have multiple levels, are content to put them side by side on the board, right? Here you're on level 3, you're on level 2. Well, this game has them stacked up with very precarious pylons, and that's Star Wars Queen's Gambit.
Ah, yes.
It has a lot of great pieces, and it's a great game, but that standing thing,
Yeah.
it doesn't take much to knock it over.
No, it doesn't.
And it's not like it falls over all the time, but it can.
Yes.
And it just...
That's game over,
You're like
too,
reaching
right?
in between, you're like... don't knock anything over. When you knock a piece over in the middle there, okay, everyone freeze. Let me fix that.
You have to play the song. Dun, 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 dun.
I really like the game a lot. It is an excellent game, and I love that it is a 3D because that's what attracted to me in the first place.
Right.
But it's pretty easy for that to fall over. Star Wars Queen's Gambit.
Number 4.
All right, my number 4 is a game that has already been mentioned on one of the other lists.
Oh, there's actually a crossover.
There is a
I wasn't sure there
crossover
would be
here.
any crossovers
Yeah,
on
there's
this
a
list.
crossover. And the crossover is Cleopatra and the Society of Architects.
Oh,
and one of the
man.
things is that it's ridiculous good because not only all of the temple pieces that are really cool. One thing that you didn't mention was that you actually use the box to build the temple.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
no,
one of the
that's
first
really
things.
neat,
That's
yeah.
that's one of the first games, at least that I played, that actually did that, where they actually used part of the box itself to build the temple around, and I thought that was incredibly cool. And it's one of the main reasons that I picked up the game. I mean, it's a good thing that I enjoy the game because now I have more levity and to describe why I have it, not just the fact that you can build the temple around the box.
I own it because it looks cool.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's my number 4, Cleopatra and the Society of Architects.
My number 4 is an older game. I think it came out in the late 80s, early 90s. Asmodee just reprinted it, and that's Hotels. And the ridiculous thing in Hotels are the hotels. This is basically a roll and move, land on people's property and pay them money. And you can make your property more valuable by putting hotels on it. But these hotels are, I mean, they're this high. Usually when you get the game, you have to take a long time putting the cardboard and plastic pieces in the top and bottom. It takes up like 80% of the box. You have little cars you drive around, but these are big, really nice pieces.
Okay.
I mean, and when I was was it a kid when I was definitely a teenager. I mean, I was like, wow, this is awesome. And boom, I added another edition. But the same thing could have been accomplished with a little wooden piece, right?
Right.
I have, another addition onto this, and they had big cardboard pieces with swimming pools. I mean, the thing looks beautiful. It's a step up from Monopoly, really. But it's just ridiculous.
Did the reprint also do the crazy?
Yeah, it did.
buildings?
It did. I think that's
cool.
I think it's the draw of the game.
That's all there
right.
is. Right. All right, cool.
Hotels.
My number 4 is a game which uses an interesting mechanism to basically count what round you're in.
I know what it
It
is.
uses these. This tells you what round of the game you're in. How? Well, by building a cathedral in pillars of the earth. And so, at the end of the first round, then you put this thing out, and then at the end of the second round, you stand there and go, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And then at the end of the third round, then you go, why not? And that's it. So this, once it's done, is very cool, but clearly the company had leftover puzzle pieces from some other game that they decided not to publish. And then they thought, you know what would be really cool? We should put these in the box and tell people to add one to the board at the end of every round, and that's how many rounds the game lasts. Suckers!
You're never going to let this one go. I like that.
I think it's fine too, but it is so ridiculous. It does nothing in the game except obstruct the board. I really don't know how it's supposed to go.
Obviously.
I usually build it like this.
All right.
And so again, the turn order, or rather like the round.
That would
the
be
round marker.
That would be the abstract era of art, sir. Architecture.
Yes, it's different. This is Pillars of the Earth. My number 4.
Number 3.
Are you lazy?
Yeah, I'm building.
Because one of the ways to move in many games is to roll dice. But that's too much effort. So why not just push a button and let the dice roll for you? This is the oldest game on the list, and that's Trouble. The Pop-O-Matic bubble in the middle. And yeah, I love this stupid thing. But really, it's just rolling the dice for you.
Yeah, that's it.
And not even very well.
Can't even lift my hand and turn my
I'm just gonna put this weight down.
Okay, someone actually made a Kickstarter, I think, where they were selling them so we could open them up and put any dice you want inside them.
Really? I would do it.
I almost backed it.
Yeah, I would do it. That's very cool.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, it's really a horrible way to roll dice. They barely move in there.
Right.
So, anyway, I thought that's ridiculous. I always have. Even as a kid, I was like, that's cool, but, Trouble, the Pop-O-Matic. It's not the only game it's in. I think it's actually in several games.
Yeah.
But Trouble's the one I know it most from.
Yeah. All right, my number 3 is from a party game called Smarty Party. It is, of course,
Rubber pants!
the rubber pants, which invariably, once you put them on the table, somebody takes their fingers and sticks them in here and takes them for a little walk. And so you do this, and you go, yeah, and they don't fit very well. He looks like he's having trouble walking. These pants might be rubber instead of jeans. They are rubber.
That's about, what, 80% of the teenagers walking around today anyway.
That's true. They're like down to here. And they can barely move. So, yeah, completely unnecessary. It's a star player marker. This is what you get when you're the one whose turn it is.
No, it's not. No, they're handed to whoever gets it right.
Man.
Oh, that's right. They move around to whoever
So it's really annoying because you have to keep handing them around too.
True, you pass them around all the time. They bounce everywhere. They're just really annoying. It's not a problem, but they're weird, and everybody's always sticking their fingers in my rubber pants. So,
Thanks for phrasing that properly.
party, and these weird rubber pants. Let's put them on this guy.
Sam, what's your number 3?
Okay.
Come on.
Where's the black screen?
Interesting. All right, my number 3 is actually a miniatures game. And I know that sounds weird coming from me because why would I think that miniatures are ridiculous or unnecessary? And this is a game called X-Wing, the miniatures game.
Oh.
And I'm looking at one of them right up there. And it's the Tantive 4. And then the Rebel Transport is the other one. This is a game about...
Not that big?
Yeah,
right up
that's
there.
the Rebel. The Tantive 4 is about like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's huge. And I think it's cool. It's awesome to have the model and to display it, but how many times have you actually used it in the game?
Like 3.
No, like 3? Really? Are you being honest? Or
No, I'm being honest, but 3 is pushing it too.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's the thing, and that's why it made my list because the models are awesome. Don't get me wrong, but you barely ever use them. So you spent how much money is that? What, $50?
I think it was free.
Well, for you.
No,
Okay.
no, it wasn't free for me.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 50 or 60.
50 or
Let's not-
60 bucks
We're not
for a
quibbling.
model that you rarely ever use in a game. That's ridiculous. It looks cool, but it's ridiculous.
It's also hard to dust.
I can just imagine him now with like a duster going around the figures.
Yes, right.
Number 2.
All right, my number 2 is not one I have here to show you, but it is from Camel Up, and it is the pyramid that rolls the dice for you. Sort of like the working man's Pop-O-Matic,
Yes.
where instead of just boop, boop, you have to pick up the pyramid from the middle of the table, and then you kind of hold the base in a weird way, and you flip it, you put it on the board anywhere, and you push a lever. This is not, I'm not exaggerating, my hand goes like into claw mode when I do this. And then you do like a little, it moves like an apparatus that drops a die, then you pick it up, and aha, a die came out of it with a number. You could quite easily just reach in a bag and roll a die,
Yeah.
but instead you get this pyramid. And once you're done with that, by the way, then you take the pyramid and put it right side up again and stick it back on the board, and then the next person, if they want to roll a die, will go. So really ridiculous, high toy factor though. I'm not knocking this one really. I think people are attracted to it, but it's just a ridiculous component. My number 2 die rolling pyramid from Camel Up.
Camel Cup.
That too.
My number 2 is from a game that also starts with the letter C, but it is not Camel Cup and it is not Carcassonne. It is, however, called Cthulhu Wars. And the ridiculous nature of the Ancient One figures.
Hey guys, here's a whole board game worth of money.
Blam! Right. I mean, what? Cthulhu stands like this tall?
Might be.
Almost.
Okay, yes.
I mean,
He's
it's-
like this big, I think.
He's huge, man.
yeah, he is
He's
big.
bigger than
I
the
mean,
dinosaurs.
If you have a low-setting sun and he's standing at the wrong end of the table,
You're
you
haunted.
now have a dark board.
Yes.
I mean, he's huge. And, see, the thing is, the price point of that game was so high.
Yes.
It's
And
tough.
that's why it was so high.
You were playing
because
for
these-
plastic, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
it was literally you're paying its weight in plastic.
I bet you they could have made those regular-sized miniatures and lopped maybe $20 off the game.
20?
20, 25 bucks?
They could have got the 100 off that game,
If
man.
you make
Really?
those like not unnecessarily large,
I'm
you
just
could
talking
knock.
about just those. I mean, there's only like four of them.
Oh, you're saying in just those 4?
Yeah, but those
just
guys
those
are
4.
massive.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
can make them normal size and knock off like $40.
Okay, 40,
They are
fine.
ridiculously huge.
Anyway, if you've ever seen these miniatures, you know what I'm talking about. Absolutely ridiculous, over the top, price gouging for plastic. Cthulhu Wars, my number 2.
All right. What do you got?
I already did my number 2.
Oh, then that leaves me. It's a repeat of one that Sam did already. And that is Starfarers of Catan.
Yeah.
The ships in Starfarers of Catan are ridiculous. Now, they're ridiculously cool and stupid at the same time. They're
Yes.
cool adding all those pieces. Not so cool when half of them broke. They did fix that with the ring, and I think they made the second edition stuff stronger. And unfortunately, they're so ridiculously cool that this very good game won't be reprinted probably because it's too expensive to do those ships.
Well, they can probably just work around that. Really, they should figure out a way to work.
Yeah, but then
around
everyone will be like, oh, I remember back when these ships
that.
were...
Well, whatever.
And I mean, they even had the ships where you tilted them upside down and put them in these little balls came out. This is one I said was similar to the Incognito one earlier.
Right.
And I mean, you could have just rolled a couple dice for that.
Yep.
But I like them a lot, and they make the game look really neat. Just ridiculous.
Yep. Very ridiculous.
And finally, number 1.
Here we go!
All right, do not knock over my dino.
I was deliberately going to knock over your
hurt the
gun.
dinosaur.
All right, here we go. Yeah!
20, and I only got a 14 because I hurt my friend. And Sam got a 5.
All right, I'll go first, then Z, and we'll let Sam go last.
All right.
Unless anyone here has a repeat, then you go first.
I don't think so.
Nope, I don't.
All right. I'm going first because mine is more obscure, I think. But to me, it's the first one I thought of, and that's Dragon Scroll. This is from the Lamont Brothers Fragger games. Now, you could say that all their games have ridiculous components because
Yep.
they almost always come with Christmas tree ornament things inside. Remember the sheep?
That's the one I almost put on my list. Sheer Panic.
Sheer Panic,
I
right?
almost put that on my list. Yeah.
Because the game is essentially about moving sheep around.
It could be anything. It could be tile.
It has these huge sheep. Well, Dragon Scroll took that to an extreme. It's a cooperative game that came with like lawn gnomes in it.
Can't
Don't
say.
look. Don't
You have
look.
it?
Can't
No,
see
I
it.
don't. I
I
don't.
can't-
Oh, okay. No, they have this. These giant figures in it, so that they had to make the box like this deep. The box is a huge box that didn't need to be that big.
How tall are these things? I've never seen this in person.
Well, I think there's like one that's like this tall. They're like these
word.
big, and they don't even fit on the board properly. The board, yes, you're moving them around, and it's an okay co-op game, probably even less than okay. And these pieces are like, I think they were made to be like people will go, wow, look at these pieces.
Only 100 euros? I'll take one.
And the extent was, it's like, oh, how am I going to get this home to America now? And it just didn't go over well at all. I mean, too ridiculous, really.
Too much of a good thing there.
I said that they too much. What did I say? I think they went too far on the components, and then they actually quoted me on that. They're like, "We said Tom Vasel said we went too far." Yes, but not necessarily a compliment.
They spend it into a good comment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Those guys are hilarious.
Yeah, they're really nice guys, and
they
their
are.
games are fun. But I could have said that about their Hamlin, the mice, the Pied Piper of Hamlin
Right,
had all those mice in it. That reindeer or island had these little reindeer all over.
Yes.
I could have picked probably any other games for this list. This one's the most ridiculous.
All right, my number 1 is from a game. Well, you know what? Here, I'm going to show you the component. Let's go fishing! The game is called If Wishes Were Fishes. And in the game, you are using these as basically your currency. And you spend these by putting them on cards to skip that card and be able to take the next one, right? So you know, if you don't want the first card in a line, you can spend these, leave them behind, and you take whatever you want in a deeper depth. So technically, they're very thematic. But they are distracting as all get out.
And if you don't like the game, you can use them as bait, apparently.
You dislike it, and every time I see these, I just want to go fishing instead. So my number 1 has to be the rubber worm currency from If Wishes Were Fishes. I really hope this doesn't catch on in the economy, because I don't know if I could carry around a pocket full of these everywhere I go. I'll take that latte, madam. Here you
And there's
are.
even like there's at least 3 different versions of them
There
in
are
the
a
thing
bunch
too.
of different ones, yeah. There's, I think, like 3 different models. Sculpts. There you
All
go.
right.
All right. That is my number 1. If wishes are wishes.
All right.
My number 1, I'm going to have to go
These
get
dice.
it. I'm going to have to go get it. And I'm going to put it on the table because I think that will pretty much prove how ridiculous this component or
ahead.
this piece of the game is.
I shall be snacking up on these.
Okay, go
while
ahead
you
and
do that.
snack. Go ahead and snack. I'll get it real quick. It's right here in this room. I am still in the room.
Oh,
I'm just cutting this probably, you know.
And, oh,
don't drop it.
here we go. I'm going to shield it a little bit and then say, wha-bam!
Ah!
What in the world
This is
were these
clearly
people
a
thinking?
container for a game, yes?
It's gotta be a container. No, this is the Borg cube from
Attack
Star
of the
Trek
Space Worm.
Attack Wing. And supposedly, this comes with stats, right?
No,
And
it does. It
you're
does.
supposed
It's
to
not
be able to
supposedly.
use
You
this
can actually
in a
play
game.
with it.
Have you ever done that?
No.
No. And at least make it like light up or something like that. I don't know.
Well, there are some people. They said that they knew that when they made it, they knew people were going to try to pop it open. I think we tried to see if we could pop it open, and we couldn't get that far.
Yeah.
To put lights in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool if it actually did that. Some type of LED or something like that.
Well, it does have green stuff in
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
No,
I
that would be
understand.
amazing, yeah.
The height of ridiculousness in games. I think the Borg
We offer
cube
this
from
cube to
Star
you.
Trek Attack Wing.
If we're ever invaded by aliens, I shall make them this as an offer. And I think they'll spare us. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, those are our top 10 ridiculous components. What are yours? Tell us in the comments. Tell us, there's probably stuff we've missed. Maybe you agree or disagree. Anyhow, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And I'm Sam Healey.
Yeah!
See you next time, folks!
Break the camera with the rubber worms.